Hello, this is James the Plumber. I'm going to be showing you how to do a remodel on a Delta tub and shower faucet that has the push button diverter. We're going to eliminate the push button diverter. The parts that you're going to need, this is the plug for the diverter that we're going to be replacing. The number is RP2865 and the Delta kit is a RP54870. This is everything you should need to do the remodel. And what we're doing is we're going to be eliminating the push button diverter because a lot of times they'll leak from, they'll spray out when you push them in. So we're going to just eliminate it. This is the kit right here. This is everything that comes in the kit. I'll talk you through about what everything is when we're taking it apart. I want to do a detailed description of what's going on from start to finish, because unfortunately YouTube channels usually don't give you the details. So we're going to basically start. I haven't loosened anything up, but it's going to be whatever happens here is usually what happens out in the field, or for the homeowner, you may come across these issues. So what I'm going to first do is, of course, take the handle off. And if you take a look at this, it's got a lot of, dirtiness around it. So what's happened is the seller of the home wants to kind of give it a fresh look. So what we're going to do is we're going to pry this button off. Some of the buttons are a little different. Ooh, that's nice and nasty. So anyways, give me that bucket, son. My son is filming. His name is Nico. He's the camera guy. Hopefully he does a good job. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take the handle off. It's got a Phillips head screw in there. Sometimes it's a flat head. And then what we're gonna do is pull it off. Sometimes it's a little tight to get off of there. And next thing we're going to do is, this is like a tension ring. There's a special tool that's used, but of course, you guys aren't going to have it, so I'm going to show you how to take it off. This one's plastic. Sometimes they're metal. If they're metal, sometimes it can be a pain in the butt to get off. So it's got these notches in here. And I'm just taking the screwdriver, sticking it in that notch, tapping it, and that's going to take it loose. And then I'll take it loose the rest of the way with my fingers. Now the metal ones, they tend to kind of bond themselves, because one thing is a brass, and then the other, this is actually an alloy. So, and before I get too far into this, there's three scenarios of how this is going to come off. It's either going to come off nice and easy, or it's going to be a little bit of trouble. And if it's going to be a little bit of trouble, I'll show you the process of taking that off. So anyways, what you're going to do is you're going to put your channel locks on the ring and give it a little turn. Well, this is surprising. It came off nice and easy. But anyways, what I'm going to do is show you different options. If it doesn't turn freely like that, you don't want to put too much pressure on it, because there's three little copper tubes, 3/8 tubes, that go in the back of this mechanism. And if you put too much pressure on it, it will actually spin and break off. So if it doesn't come off as easy as it did with me, which I'm surprised, I was hoping it would be a little tougher so I could show you guys. Anyways, what you want to do as a homeowner you know, you obviously have a little bit of time on your hands. I always say take some WD-40. There's this little gap right here where the bonnet nut is, and then there's this little cover. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your WD-40 and just spray it in there like that. And then you take your channel locks and you tap it a few times. And what that does is the vibration allows the WD-40 to get back in there. You can spray some more in there if you want. I hate to say it, but there's no such thing as excess when it comes to this, because it's going to cost you a lot of money in the long run if you break that off on the inside of the wall. So that's your second scenario as far as if it, you know, doesn't come off freely. And I usually recommend wait about a half hour to give the WD-40 some time to get into the threads, and then come back and see if it comes off. If it doesn't, just repeat the process. Then there's the old favorite of mine. If it doesn't come off, I put the torch on it. And when you put the torch on it, I always like to, if you can, leave the escutcheon on. Don't take everything off when doing it, because it acts as a heat shield. So usually what I do, and I'm just going to go through this pretty quick, I just take the torch and I heat it up. I go around the whole thing, and you may have to do it for a couple of minutes till it loosens up. This one's loose already, so I don't have to sit here and keep heating it up. So what'll happen is the heat, of course, will cause it to expand and kind of move a little freely. I've got a damp rag right here that I'm going to use to take this off so that I don't burn myself. And of course I have a rag sitting in the bottom of the tub. This is a fiberglass tub, and of course I don't want to damage the tub. Okay, this piece here comes out, which we're actually going to be getting rid of because we have the new the remodel kit. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. These are also Phillips heads, so we're going to take this off. Sometimes these screws don't come out as easy as they are right now. And if they don't come out easy, sometimes they will break inside the wall. Which of course, I may make a video of that, because yesterday I was at a house where the person had someone do tile work, and they took the cover off, and while taking the cover off, they broke one of the screws into the fitting. Now of course this usually doesn't come off when you do that, but anyways, this is just a cover that slides over there. Now we're going to zoom in so you can see these copper tubes here. There's a tube here, and then there's one in the bottom. So what I was telling you earlier about, if you put too much pressure on it, this part will spin while those stay in place, and it basically just rips it right off. So that's the situation with that. Now obviously the person who installed this initially was a genius because they didn't cut this out far enough. So to get this off, I'm actually going to have to break some of the fiberglass, which normally is not fun. So what I'm going to have to do is we're going to have to pause the video. I'm going to have to get something to cut that down a little bit. This is actually some pretty thick fiberglass here, so I'm going to need a little saw to cut that. So we're going to pause the video and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So all I'm gonna do is I got this little hacksaw. Of course, it's one of those little breakaway ones. But anyways, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna notch this fiberglass out. And of course, I'm sure you people are thinking, this is going to be a long video. Well, imagine how much money I'm going to save you instead of you calling a plumber out, which I have nothing against plumbers because I'm one. I'm just trying to save you guys a little bit of money. So, yes, it might be a little bit long, but in the long run, it might be worth it to you. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting the fiberglass down a little bit, and then of course I'm going to snap the piece that I cut with my needle nose. Or, I'm sorry, my mini channel locks. I got a pair of little needle nose sitting right there. Now, of course, with fiberglass, as long as I don't break the fiberglass down past where the original ring is, we're fine, which I don't plan on doing that. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my channel locks and soften the fiberglass up a little bit. Of course, these are just little mini channel locks because it's a tight spot. And I'm just going to go back and forth to loosen it up. A lot of times the fiberglass is not this thick. So on your newer ones, you may not even have to do too much of that. And in most cases, it's not improperly cut. If he would have just cut it down another ½ an inch, used a bigger hole saw, we wouldn't have this problem. But maybe at that time, that was the only hole saw they had. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my needle nose pliers, see if I can get that little piece right underneath there. Use my channel locks again. And you know what? I'm sure there's probably some professionals out there thinking, why is this guy doing it like this? Well, if I came out here with all my special tools to show you how to do this with the special tools, what benefit is that to you? You have to go buy some special tools. So I'm just using tools that the typical homeowner can go get that, you know, isn't too expensive. Again, I'm trying to save you money. I'm not trying to make you, you know, be a craftsman. You know, if you want to be a craftsman, you need to go to school. I'm just trying to show you a little something to save you money. I'm not trying to take any jobs from your local plumbers, but so there we go. I should be able to get my tool on there now. This is where you need a special tool, unfortunately. Now, I've heard some people say you can use a 7/8 socket on that. I don't know if that's true. I've never used it. But this is called stem wrenches. And they're in 1/16 of an inch, not 1/8 of an inch. So, anyways, this is the tool that's used to remove the diverter. Turn the diverter a few times. Most times it'll come right off. Sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, so that's what the diverter looks like. A lot of times, if you push the diverter and it won't divert up to the shower, it's typically because this piece right here is broken. So I'm going to go ahead and set that there. I'm going to get the plug. My son's going to hand that to me. And of course you have the brass plug, which is lead free. And of course you have an O-ring that goes around it. That's going to make your watertight seal. And this is where you need to be careful, because if you drop it, it's going to go inside the wall, and that's not going to be a good thing for you. So what I'm going to do, because this is in the wall like that, I'm going to take my needle nose pliers, and I'm just going to try to get it started. You want to be careful not to cross thread it. There it goes, nice and easy. You can turn it a little bit of the ways with your fingers if you'd like, and then you come back over here with your tool and tighten it up. Now what that does is that eliminates your need to push the push button diverter. So we're going to go ahead and replace this as well, the tub spout. This is just a regular one. We're going to put a tub spout that has a diverter on it. And what I'll do is I'll show you this portion of it. This is where we take the seats and springs out. Of course, I use a thin Phillips head screwdriver. I mean, you can use anything as long as it'll fit through the hole without causing any damage. And then what I do is I take the new ones, put them on there like so. And they do make a special tool to where, you know, it'll actually insert it. It'll take it out. I use it to stick it in the little port. There's a hot and cold port. One's on the left, one's on the right. And then there's one down in the center, right here. You do not want to put your seats and springs in there, because it's not going to do you any good. So you have one for the hot and one for the cold. Now we have this new ball. Some people call it a cam. And so anyways, we're going to go ahead and take this off. This little plastic piece protects that little spiral spring to stay in there. Now, of course, the part with the notch in it is going to go toward the bottom. And then you have a notch here. That notch goes right in here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your ball, and again, make sure that the little notch for the set screw on the handle is down. You're going to set it in there. You're going to line it up with that notch and just try to push it in easy. Make sure that the O-ring that's on this does not pinch or pull out, because if it does, you're going to have a problem. It's going to leak. We got the new little cap. I'm going to put that cap on there like that. And then this is your new bonnet nut. You're going to go ahead and get that started. And usually what I do is I just turn it till it stops, and then I'll give it just a little tweak. Just like that. Now technically, this piece here does not have to go back in, because it doesn't. On the old style one, this was used to adjust the seats and springs when they would wear out. You could tighten it up and it would stop dripping. You won't be able to do it with this one. So, but I'm still going to put it back on there. Sometimes you have to back thread it first before it'll start right. And it goes back on there. And then we put our new escutcheon. Oh, hold on. I almost messed up. You see all this nasty stuff? I use a nice scouring pad because I don't like to leave that nasty look there. It's not going to make it perfect, but it's going to clean it up. And I know you're looking at that, you're saying, man, that's ugly, which it is. It's unfortunate that the person that installed this fiberglass unit back, I'm going to say in the 80s, they didn't take the time to cut the hole properly. We're just going to clean that up a little bit. And now we're going to put this on. Now if you look at the bottom of the escutcheon, there's a little notch there. Of course that notch goes on the bottom. And what that does is it allows for, if water gets behind this, it'll weep out of that little hole there. And most people put caulk around it, which is fine. That's a way of, you know, watertight. But again, you got the foam on the escutcheon, which I'll show you on the old one. It's got that foam. That foam acts as a watertight barrier. So we get our new screws, get that started. Then we put the second screw in. Sometimes you got to try to find the hole, and that's not the fun part. So luckily this one's going in a little bit easy. I'm going to tighten it up. And I know this video is getting long, so I'm going to do a second video showing how to replace the tub spout with the